Home is Where the Dark is supported by and produced at Stygian Sound, a music production suite specializing in producing, mixing, and mastering dark and heavy genres. Stygian Sound offers a collection of instruments and equipment that has been carefully curated and refined to offer you exceptional tools to capture your perfect performance. Have your raw multitracks mixed with distinctive taste. Have your mix fine-tuned with a world-class hybrid master. Visit alexcrescioni.com today for more details and to book your slot now. Thanks, Daddy. Welcome, Donny Baker, owner of ES Audio Recording Studios. Thanks for dropping by, man.
Hey, Alex.
Great to see you.
Finally get together.
Yeah.
Finally, it's been a minute.
I know, right?
Yeah, been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah, I just want to say before we start, I've really enjoyed, we've had a long relationship over the past maybe almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I met you was off a Craigslist ad, and I was like, let me check this out. And then I came over to your studio, and then you're very welcoming and very nice, and you're showing me the studio. And then ever since then, I just started bringing most of my clients to track drums. And
I appreciate that, man. We try to, as a studio, we try to keep it homey and family kind of oriented, rather than be, I don't know if you've ever been to a corporate type studio,
Yeah.
And it just feels like you're going to the dentist.
I know.
I hate that, man. But yeah, we try to keep it, cool. We got stupid stuff hanging on the walls. We've been there a minute. This is our 20th year, actually, in that same building.
This year?
Pretty cool, yep.
Wow.
So it's time to quit, maybe?
No, never. That's what I love about this job is I don't feel like I could ever retire. I'm just going to keep doing this until I croak.
It's a love thing, man.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. So it's been 20 years. Maybe give us a little bit of a background on how you got into that studio. And
it's been long. It's been a long time. I've been in the music industry since forever, honestly. I met, I don't know if you guys remember an artist named Pat Travers. Mm-mm. He's still around. He's a Canadian rock star, bro. I mean, I met this dude when I was 13. My family and I were moving to the UK for my at the time, dad's job. And so the whole family was moving to basically London. We lived there. I lived there for almost 4 years. From 13 to 18, and
wow.
And I sat next to this guy on the plane, and he looked like a rock star. Kind of had long black hair and just wore sunglasses the whole time. Just definitely a rock star guy. And we started talking, man. And I think that's what set it off, dude. That was seriously what it just kind of got me thinking. Maybe this is for me, man. Maybe I'm gonna be a rock star.
So you lived in London during your high school years, basically.
Yeah, I graduated from high school in London. Yes.
I didn't know that about you. How was that experience?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Until I got back to the United States and tried to go to college, and they didn't accept my transcripts from the UK.
Huh.
Why is that? I ended up. They said, "Oh, you got to go back to 7th grade." I'm 18, bro. I'm not going to 7th grade. So I got a GED and went on to college. Did community college for a year and then moved on to LSU like a good Louisiana boy. I'm from Louisiana. I don't know if you knew that about me too.
Yeah.
From New Orleans, but
hell yeah.
Yeah. So I went to LSU like a good little New Orleans boy and hung out and graduated college. And about a week after college, went back home, to mom's. And I'm like, man, y'all, it's okay to curse?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay. So I went back home to mom's. I was there for like a week, and I was like, man, y'all motherfuckers is crazy. I got to go. So I literally packed the truck, had no idea where I was going to go. Packed the truck, told mama goodbye, and came to Los Angeles. This was 1986.
You were 18?
I was like 22, 23.
Oh, okay.
I just finished college.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, didn't know anybody, didn't have much money, didn't know what to do or where to go. I just knew I had a dream, and wanted to be a rock star. And that part didn't work out so well, but I found that I was really good working behind the rock star, mixing and carrying his drums into the studio and stuff like that. It was a good gig, man. I toured as an engineer and as a roadie, if you want to call me that, for almost 13 years.
So like front of house?
Mostly, mostly monitors, because I was really good at monitors. I really enjoyed it. Some front of house, yeah, I did. I still love mixing live. I mean, that's like a passion. I'll do it for free if anybody out there needs somebody, you know. But I'm just saying that it is something that I really enjoy mixing live, and I still do. I don't do as many gigs as I used to because of the studio now, but you know, but yeah, I still do.
So what got you into owning a studio?
Oh, wanting to stop touring, wanting to not tour anymore was a big thing. I met a girl, and this is everybody's story, right? I met a girl. I was touring with. I was working for Michael Bolton. It's my third tour with Michael Bolton, and he paid really well. He's a great guy. He's just a super nice guy to work for, you know. And the music was all right. It was okay if you like adult contemporary rock, whatever. But no, I met a girl at a bar like in Indianapolis, Indiana, and 6 months later, married her, and that was 31 years ago, bro. Still married,
Damn.
still hanging, still very much in love. And it was a thing that it was time to come off the road. Honestly, a story. There was a guy that toured with us on most of the. I met him on other tours. But he did the 3 tours with Michael Bolton with me. His name was Booby Daniels. I don't know if he's still around. Probably not. His lifestyle was a little harsh, but
Drugs?
Very much, a little bit.
Uh-oh.
And so he was the drum tech. The drum tech was Muggsy Kane, Jonathan Kane's brother of Jonathan Kane, of the keyboard player. And Muggsy Kane was the drummer for Michael Bolton, and Booby was his tech. And he and I hung out. I mean, he was a great dude, fun guy to hang out with. But he was, at the time, he was 50, 58, close to 60 years old, still setting up drums for, you know, Michael Bolton. And he had nothing but a drug habit and a suitcase, you know. And at that point, I had met this girl, kind of knew that, I don't know, you just know when it's the one, you know what I mean? I know it sounds really cliche and stupid, but you just kind of know in your heart that that's the one, in your soul. And so I knew, and it was time to stop. And I told Booby, before I told anybody else, I told Booby, I said, bro, I love you to death, man, but I got to go. I don't want to be you.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that.
Don't blame me there.
I came off, I stopped. That was my last tour. That was 1992, my last tour.
Do you miss it a little bit, or are you content with like being in the studio and not having to travel?
I'm so fortunate that I do have the studio. Now, if I came off the road and I went and did something completely out of what I do, what I don't know, with you, I know with me it's built in. This shit is just inside. It's in the DNA. I can't do anything else. If I do anything else, I want to kill people. You know, it's just one of those things. I hate it. So, yeah. So I'm really fortunate that I get to do the studio thing, and it's been, you know, I mean, let's define success, define richness. I mean, I'm not wealthy by any means. I've got, you know, I drive. You saw my car, right? I mean, it's a piece of crap. But at the same time, I'm like one of the richest people I know because I do something I love to do, and I have a great partner. My wife is my partner. She does all the she does all the things that I suck at. I almost said stupid stuff, but she does all the things that I suck at. The businessy stuff, the money and the banks and the invoices and the insurance. I don't care. I honestly don't even know how much my rent is. I just go there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to know these things. I just go there and do what I do, and it works. And I'm not a musician, bro. I don't know if you knew that about me. I don't play anything. I know where a couple of chords are on a guitar. But you don't want me to sing anything for sure. But honestly, I'm not a musician, and this is really a difficult thing for other people to see because they just assume that you're in the music business, you're a musician or you're a producer or you play something. You know, you make things up, you create music. But I don't do that. I mix.
Well, you could still be very artistic and creative with engineering and mixing for sure. And
absolutely.
Producing, yeah.
Give me a microphone and a preamp and an EQ and a compressor, and I'm going to make you sound like awesome.
Well, yeah, that's sound. You're shaping sound. You're sculpting sound. You're creating a tone.
100,
man.
That's 100%.
That's artistic.
100%.
You know? It is. It's technical, but it's also artistic. You and your partner, your wife, you've been operating the studio for 20 years. Like, what kind of? I mean, I'm sure you've seen lots of changes and ups and downs in the industry, but was there anything like any moments where you were starting to like maybe reconsider or like Or was he
man.
just kind of rolling with the punches and, getting through the ups and downs?
Yeah, that's a great question, by the way. Thanks for asking. We haven't owned the studio for 20 years. I worked there for the first 6 years. I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but the original owner bankrupted basically, and my wife and I bought him out. We basically took over. 13 years ago, I guess. Doing math, I mean, yeah, 14 years ago. But yeah, that was really funny, man, is the original owner called me. I haven't heard from him since that day. That day he left and left his keys on the desk and walked away and left me with all the debt and everything, which I took over, and now I have it. It's mine. But he walked away, and he called me a couple of weeks ago. He's back. He wants to do another record. So we've been working on a record for a couple of weeks.
13 years of silence, and then I'm
all
back.
of a sudden he calls me and goes, "Hey, buddy, what's up?"
Wow.
It's like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" And yeah, he's paying full rate, bro.
Good.
So
what kind of music is that?
It's rock, bro. He was I don't know if you remember the band Hellion and World War III from back in the day in the 80s and 90s. He was a guitar player for World War III and Hellion. Okay. Chet Thompson's his name if you guys want to look him up. Chet Thompson guitar. He's a cool guy. An amazing guitar player. I really don't know why he stopped playing guitar. I guess thought he was better at marketing and selling ads on radio or something. But
is that what he transitioned?
That's
to?
what he transitioned into. Yeah, marketing guy. And now he's doing well. I mean, he owns his own company, a marketing company, a media company, and he's doing well. He's got some pretty big clients, and he's still an amazing guitar player. I mean, just sick. Don't know why he ever stopped, but his songs are good and they're going to be awesome. And I'm actually proud that I'm actually proud that I'm able to do, to be a part of it, man. It's going to be fun.
Hell yeah.
The drummer is he's hired a drummer from New York named Chris Moore.
Okay.
He just saw YouTube videos of this drummer and reached out to him, and this dude is like pretty sick. This dude's pretty good.
So you're gonna be doing all the tracking for the album?
We've done the scratch guitar and scratch vocals and sent those tracks off to the drummer. Now the drummer's gonna lay down his part to a click, and then send those back, and then we'll do the guitars and the vocals and the basses and everything, and then we'll mix and master, and it's gonna be awesome.
Nice.
Songs are good. The songs are pretty fun.
So it's been quite a roller coaster ride in the music industry, like with streaming. And I mean, what kind of pivoting did you have to do at any point? Like, was there a certain point where you're like, we got to change it up to bring in the income, or was anything like any kind of stories like that?
I think, and I'm just assuming, I don't know for a fact, but I think that's why the other guy bankrupted, because he tried to keep up with technology. He tried to go strictly Pro Tools and be in the box and keep up with the Joneses and have the latest, greatest controller and the latest, greatest mixing plugins and whatever. Oh, we have to get this new plugin because everybody says it's cool. That might have been the downfall of that studio. I have since, at that point, I pivoted and I went back to my roots. I went back to analog consoles. Dude, I still got a 2-inch 24 track, and I ain't afraid to use it. The redneck gonna come out. We're gonna put a tape on there, and we're gonna make something sound awesome. Do you get projects here and there where you can use that, or is it kind of rare? We do. No, finding virgin tape is difficult, and when you do, it's expensive. Yeah. If we have, if who we're working with has a budget, we'll do that. But generally, what we do is just we'll put a piece of tape on the machine and just use the electronics of the machine to overdrive the line amps on the machine itself. Oh, that's cool. It's pretty cool. So you're just getting the color of the tape and then you hit straight to Pro Tools. Absolutely. We go straight from the mic to the console to the tape machine and then into Pro Tools. That's cool. Or Logic or Reaper or Studio One is my new favorite. I don't know if I should say that out loud yet. I think they all have pros. They all have pros and cons. But yeah, I mean, I'm using Reaper right now for this, which it was definitely so weird. Like when you're used to a DAW and then you go to something that you've never used before, it's like a foreign language. Like, what the hell do I do? But it's like anything else. There's a learning curve when you can get used to it. Like Reaper has been great for this, just for like podcasting, and every time it never crashes. I can record as long as I want. And sometimes with Pro Tools, I've had situations where I've done podcasting in Pro Tools, and most of the time it's fine. But every once in a while, like maybe
30 minutes in, it just stops recording, like errors.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
that
just
does
kind of
happen.
unpredictable. So I use Reaper because it's very reliable. But yeah, I mean, you said Studio One. Are you using that in? Do you have that in all the studios or just one?
Just one at the moment. I don't know if you guys know Graham Cochran of Recording Revolution. He has since kind of stepped away from that role. He's given that role now to Joe Gilder, and Joe Gilder is a PreSonus Studio One guy, and I kind of like what he's talking about. And he had a video that he put out recently on YouTube about the editing features of Studio One, and I thought I'd try it for drum editing. And dude, it blows Pro Tools out the water. Honestly, it's one of the easiest to edit with.
That's cool because yeah, drum editing is like one of the things I think most people don't look forward to in production.
Not with Pro Tools, anyway.
Yeah. Is it so? What about it is easier? Is it like more intuitive, or how does it work?
It understands what you're trying to do. It's like an AI maybe that understands what you want to do, and it just does it across the entire track or the entire region. So, like, in Pro Tools, what you have to do is set up a grid.
Yeah.
Elastic Audio is a piece of garbage. I mean, it never works the way it's supposed to in a whole drum group. So we try not to do that. But this one will work in a group. And what it does is it kind of understands that the grid's going to move a little bit. And then it'll chop things up on the grid, on the transients, and then slide it in where you want and how you want, as much as you want, and then add crossfades between all the slides automatically.
Okay, so it's like a more intuitive and refined like Beat Detective.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most of what I do is metal, and a lot of metal needs a lot of drum editing because you want the tight production. Like very rarely do I never touch drums because like actually the single I'm working right now, like the drummer did a very good job tracking, and it's more of like a laid back song, so I'm not doing any drum editing, which is really a relief. But most of the time I do, and I use Beat Detective when the drums aren't too complicated, because when it gets really complicated with like extreme metal with lots of 16th note triplets, kicks and snares, it's like almost impossible with Beat Detective. So you have to kind of do it manually, but it's cool to know that because yeah, Beat Detective is like, it works really well for very simple stuff. But yeah, it's cool to hear that there's better options out there.
Yeah. I mean, if you, especially with metal, if you get good at working on a grid, most metal drummers are used to a click, and they're pretty good about being on the click. So I don't know if you know Joseph McQueen.
Yeah.
Joseph does all the As I Lay Dying stuff, and he does a lot of other things as well. But he used to record drums at our spot, and then he would like edit these drums up while he was there, while the drummer was there.
Yeah.
And he would just set up a grid, and he would tab to transient on all these things and just chop things and move them, And he was so fast at it. I mean, if you're used to doing what you do, it makes life really easy.
Yeah. I used Beat Detective when, like I said, when the drums are very, very simple, but most of the time I do use I do it manually, like group everything and then tab to transient and just kind of make sure, because you can't really rely on Beat Detective to you kind of like, you have to go back and check what it did. So it's like, if I'm going back and checking what it did, I might as well just do it all manually anyway.
Yeah.
Especially for really technical drums. But yeah, definitely. So Studio One, like, are you using that for mixing too, or just for editing?
No, just for editing mostly right now. The problem as a commercial studio is that the clients that come to us want to see Pro Tools.
Of course.
They don't want to see anything else.
Yeah.
So we can't really use a tool that works better, or a tool that we're easier to use, or we feel that it's a better tool for what we're doing at the time, because our clients want to see Pro Tools.
Yeah.
They don't want to see anything else. But when I mix, I actually use Luna because I'm on an Apollo. I'm on Apollos on all my studios. So when I mix, I like Luna.
How's that? Is it intuitive?
It reminds me of an analog console. And I mean, I can mix on analog. I have 40 inputs and outputs in both my studios. We have two studios, Studio B and Studio A. Studio A has an Audient ASP4816 for the console, and Studio B's got a old Allen and Heath GS3000. I don't know if you remember those, man, but those are dope.
Yeah,
they sound so good. And this one's been recapped and redone, and I can lay 40 inputs out on the console and mix on the console. The problem with that is that it's analog.
Yeah.
You can't come back to that mix, dude.
Yep.
Make sure it's exactly what you want, because you ain't coming back.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle with, modern productions, is because, it's like you have mixed notes, but sometimes they'll get back to you a week later or 2 weeks later. And then you're like, well, the mix, so like recalling is a pain with that, as you know. So, yeah, I mean, are you doing analog like here and there for projects that you like finish in one day, like with the client, or are you doing less of that?
If it may be a live thing, the band comes in and wants to do everything live, which is awesome. That's the way we did shit in the 70s. You know what I mean? The band came in, set up, you put up some mics, and you pressed record.
Yeah, then when they're done recording, you bounce the faders and
and that's it.
Mix it.
You're done. The song sounds great. Don't make a mistake. Learn how to sing. There ain't no auto-tune, people. Come on now. I mean, no offense to everybody today, but man, y'all got it easy.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Step back 30 years and see what happened. 40 years? Oh, damn.
You have to actually
myself
yeah,
now.
you have to actually know your song, have it prepared, can play it all the way through.
Yep.
And do multiple takes all the way through.
Because everything's on tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not punching in. Well, like you could punch in on tape, but you're playing the full performance.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all know, man, but a roll of tape, depending on how fast you're rolling, you might only get 4 or 5 songs on a roll of tape, on a whole roll. That's it. If you're rolling slow, you might get like 7.5 inches per second. You might get 4 or 5 songs on a roll of tape.
Yeah.
And what does a roll of tape cost today? A couple of $100? More like 8. I mean, yeah.
Yikes.
It's y'all got it easy, man. The computers, and I mean, look, I've embraced it. I'm cool. I'm good with it. I'm all right. But I do. Even with Pro Tools, I mean, even in the studio, I still, I mean, when you come in, we set things up, and you monitor on the console. You monitor as though you're mixing it live right now, and that's how I go at it. I mean, I treat Pro Tools like a tape machine.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. That's okay. Having the hybrid is good. I mean, there's some of my favorite reverbs are in the box, and I do use them, but I do have some outboard reverbs, which are pretty cool. I think I've offered that. I think I've done that for your stuff before with the SPX 90.
Yeah.
If y'all have not figured out an SPX 90, you can get on Craigslist for like $40. One of the greatest reverbs for snares and vocals ever made.
Yeah, I love it. I love like the throwback like 80s snare you can get from that.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, there's a plug-in. What's it called? 80s reverb or 80s something. But they tried to emulate the SPX 90 and failed miserably.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I love that one.
But it's only like $19 if you want to go try it out. I think.
What's it called again?
I think it's called 80s Spaces.
80
80'S Spaces.
Cool.
It's okay, but it's not an SPX 90. Spend the extra $50, get you one on Craigslist.
Yeah, I want to buy another one. Well, I had one for a while, then I got rid of it, but I want to get it again.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Even on vocals. I mean, I use it on vocals sometimes just cause.
Yeah. So, what has been like the majority, like for 2023? I mean, what have you been working on? You said you have this new project that you mentioned before. Do you find yourself doing more like tracking, more mixing? Like what is the majority of the projects you get at ES Audio?
A lot of tracking. A lot of people like yourself come to our studio to cut drums because we're kind of known as a drum room. Mm-hmm. You've been bringing your drum projects to us for, like you said, man, 8 to 10 years. Even your personal music, which is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Just if nobody's figured that out yet, they need to go listen.
Thanks.
And we do a lot of drum tracking, which is dope. I mean, that was kind of when I built this particular room, that was kind of my idea. I wanted to have an awesome drum room, even though the room's not that big. It's maybe 700-800 square feet total, and the ceilings aren't that tall. They're maybe 8.5 feet, but the sound is huge that we get in there, and I think it's got to do with there's a lot of wood in the room, and the type of woods that we chose for the walls and the floors and everything else is it does something. And I'm not an acoustician by any means. But trust me, math was not a good subject for me. Algebra, forget about it. That was nap time in school, okay? But I tell you what, man, whatever we did in that room, maybe it was the love of every nail that went in there or something. I put every nail in, so it was me. You know,
I think it's a combination of all that. Also, it's kind of an odd shape, so you get lots of
Yeah.
nice
Yeah,
reflections.
there's zero 90 degrees in there.
Yeah.
In the whole place, there's zero 90 degrees. Even the ceiling is angled from the
Yeah.
floor.
Gotten some really great drum tones in your room over the the last many years. Like, really loving what we've. I mean, every time I go in, it just feels like getting better and better and better, and it's just refining. And I really like. We get some really great like room tones, like sounding really massive compared to like you said. It doesn't look like the biggest room, but the sounds we get out of there like sound huge.
Yeah, maybe it's because I don't like money in my pocket apparently, and I just keep buying gear. And I think every time you come there, I got something new. You're like, ooh, Alex, you got to check this out.
Yeah.
Every time you come, you bring something new too, in your lunchbox.
We like our our toys.
We
It's
like our weird shit.
It's an
man.
addiction.
Just that time you took the snare and ran it through that guitar pedal, bruh.
That was fun.
I mean, I steal a lot of ideas from you, man. I don't know if you realize that, but I've done that too.
Good.
So,
Good.
and this is how it works, man. A lot of my ideas I steal from Jacques King. There's been some other producers that have come through the studio, and I'm like, ooh, I like what you did there.
Yeah, it's all learning and like taking inspiration from others. Like that's a lot of the reason about
Black
what
Metal
we
Dave.
do.
You sent Black Metal Dave to our studio.
Oh yeah.
He brought that project Diabology.
Yeah.
Dude, that project. Okay, this is something that your younger listeners might listen to and pay attention to, and I've got a story that'll work with this in the same way. I'm not going to mention this guy's name because I don't want to embarrass this fool. But no, Diabology came in. Man, they booked like 13 days to start.
Whoa.
It was an album. It's an entire project. The entire first day, this guy Dave. Black Metal Dave, he spent 8 hours just getting drum tones. They didn't record anything. He spent the entire first day just getting tones on the drums. But I tell you what, I have never heard drums sound like that in my room.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, unfreaking believable, the tones this guy got.
Was it the drummer's kit or your kit?
It was the drummer's kit.
Okay.
The drummer, I forget his name, and I apologize for that. He's a kid. He's like in high school. He may have graduated by now. This was last year. But dude, this kid was in high school, like in 11th grade, and just killing like huge drummers. And I actually told him when he left, he just came in to play his drums and he had to get back to school because he missed 2 days to play drums. Mm-hmm. But he came in, dude, and I was like, when he left, I was like, bro, if you don't stop, bro, you are dangerous. People are not going to like you because they're scared of you. You need to continue. This kid was nuts, bro. I mean, just one of the greatest drummers I've ever heard.
So it was like just really technical, like black metal drums?
I mean, you understand metal drums probably more than most. And your listeners probably understand metal drums more than a pop guy. But this guy was sick. I mean, just insane. It's great to see real musicians coming back and playing real music, too. It's awesome. This is amazing for us. It's amazing for what we do, as producers and studio owners and things like that. And one of my greatest, one of my more fun things to do is teach. I teach a recording program there's a school called Recording Connection, Entertainment Career Connection. And I've been teaching with them for 19 years. They basically, and the cool part about that school is that they place the student in the studio to run the program. So it's just me and the student working together on a project or working together on a song or working together on whatever, mixing and mastering. And, it's a 6-month program. They're an accredited school. So, it's really well done. They've been around for a long time. They're very credible. That's why I enjoy teaching with them, because of their, their integrity and the way the program is put together is awesome. So that's a lot of fun too, because these kids are coming up and they're seeing how they come in with a preconceived idea of how things work, and then they see that, oh shit, I actually have to do stuff. They see that it's actually an art. It actually is something that you can be proud of.
Yeah.
There are projects. I don't know if you've ever had this, Alex, but there are projects that I asked the artist not to put my name on it. Mm. There are projects that I don't want to be involved in because they don't want to take the time to make it good. They don't want to take the suggestions to make it better.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I've actually had a guitar player said, after the take, I asked the guitar player to tune. Hey, man, can you check your tuning? Shut up. It's fine. I'll disagree with you on that, but if you want to just take a moment to check your tuning, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because I mean, you're a studio owner and manager, and you have more people that kind of call you up to track, and it's more like it seems like you're more open to the public, and I'm sure you kind of check people out before you take a deposit, and you just don't let anybody in. But I think, yeah, it seems like you might have more of those situations. In my situation, I kind of try and vet people out before I decide to work with them. Like if someone came into my studio and gave me like shit like that, because look, I'm just looking out for you. I want your music to sound the best and it can. If you're gonna like give me attitude because I say you need to tune, then I'm not working with you.
Yeah, you need to be proud of your work as a producer and as an engineer. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see like, when you're owning a studio, running a studio, maybe you're not engineering all the sessions. You have outside engineers that come in, but if you're sitting in and you suggest to the guitar player to check their tuning and they give you attitude, you're like, all right, I'm out of here. And of course, like, you don't have to be involved with that production. You're the studio owner. You're giving them the space to record. So that makes
That's the thing,
sense.
though. We are not. We don't have the luxury of vetting clients. Anyone can book the studio.
Yeah.
And so we don't get to vet the client. And that brings me to another awesome story, which I'll share with you and your listeners.
Yes, please.
There was a guy that booked our studio. Great segue, Alex. I appreciate you, man. There was a guy who booked our studio, and we have an online booking system. So you can go to my website. It's esaudio.com if anybody wants to look it up. Go to the website. You like that plug?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'll put it in the description, too. I'll put the link in there.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
No, you can go to the website. And you can book in. There's a big button right on the front that says book your studio. Oh, by the way, it's right next to the Grammy picture, the Grammy that we want. Okay, so book your studio. You like that too?
Get that? You got to
get that out of the way. Listen, let's. You can cut all that other shit out for a second, okay? Let's start here, okay? But yes, we won a Grammy in 2022. It took me almost a year to put that Grammy thing on my website. I don't give a fuck about accolades. I don't care. I don't do it for that. Someone legit came to me and said, dude, why are you not telling people you got a Grammy? What is wrong with you? Do you not like money? Do you not like more business? Look, I don't do it for that.
Well, did it bring you more business?
I reluctant, yes.
Okay.
In a sense, maybe. What I think it brought was higher quality business. Because I did raise my rates as well as put the Grammy thing on the website. I raised the rates a little bit, which got rid of, it took away it took away maybe a group, shit, that's hard to say without offending someone. I'm really good at offending someone. It kind of took away from what we call mediocre, okay? And it gave us a different quality client. Okay, we have less clients, but at the same time, we've got more quality clients. Maybe it's a recognizing thing now. People recognize that we are who we are, and we offer and deliver what we deliver now. Maybe that's what it is. But the quality of client has risen. Yeah, I got more time off. Awesome. But at the same time, we're not as busy as we were, but I seem to be making more money, which is weird. The studio's not as busy as we were, but now I seem to be making more money. But okay, back to the story. So you can book from the website, okay? And this guy booked a 2-hour session on a Sunday. All right, so we have an automated booking system on the website, and it recognizes keywords. So there's a question that it asks everyone. Tell us a little bit about your session so we could be prepared for when you arrive. Simple. Okay, most people put drums. So or they'll put vocals or whatever, So you can book the studio with an engineer, without an engineer. You can book either studio. We also have a podcast studio. You can book that if you like, whatever. But this guy booked Studio A, our big studio, for a 2-hour session on a Sunday. And on the question where it asked, what do you, the question said, tell us a little bit about your session. He put, we're going to record some vocals, and maybe if there's enough time, we'll cut some acoustic guitar. Don't need an engineer. Cool. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Dude, they pull up. So, all right, so I'm prepared for when they get there. I wasn't familiar with the artist, so I had a couple of different vocal microphones up. I wasn't really sure what they might want, so I had a couple of different vocal microphones up that they could audition. He said they might want to do some acoustic guitar, so I had a DI plugged in, ready to go, with a set of mics ready to go for an acoustic guitar, because I don't know about you, I like to put mics on an acoustic guitar.
Hell yeah.
It's just what I do. So, they pull up. Dude, there's a grip of people coming in.
No.
The drummer's got his freaking little cart bringing all his drums in. And I said, whoa, what's up, man? I said, I thought you said it was just, oh, no, it's not just vocals, it's a full band.
Oh, God.
I got a full drum kit, I got a bass guitar, I got 2 guitar players, 4 background singers and 2 lead singers and a keyboard. The keyboard player's got 4 keyboards. Bruh,
oh my God.
you only booked a 2-hour session. What? So it was Sunday. We didn't have any. I didn't call in any assistants. No interns were there. It was just me.
Oh, no.
I figured, well, the guy didn't say he needed an engineer, so I'll just be the assistant. If they need something, I'll plug in a mic, whatever. You know what I mean? I assumed they were bringing their own engineer.
Uh-oh.
So they just assumed an engineer came with the room, even though it says right below the question, this room doesn't come with an engineer, by the way. If you need an engineer, make sure you book one.
Yeah.
So the guy, if you guys look up my Google reviews, he's the only guy that gave me a 1-star review, which takes me down to a 4.9 because of this asshole.
Still great, but yeah, that would piss me off too. That would really...
just a dick, man. I mean, if you guys look up the review, he says in the review, "Oh, I've been to many professional studios before, and they can set my shit up in 10 minutes."
Sure.
Bro, if you go to a professional, if you go anywhere and they set your shit up in 10 minutes, it's not going to sound good, I promise.
Well, most professional studios would probably not go through with the session if you book 2 hours without an engineer, say it's only vocals and acoustic guitar, then show up with a full band and expect you to do all that in 2 hours. Like, no, I mean, that wouldn't fly. But
yeah, that's,
props to you for
okay.
Like,
No. Okay, now that you say it out loud, yeah, I should have said no.
Well,
but
I mean,
I'm not there for the money. I don't care about money.
I get it. I totally get it. I mean, I would probably try my best to accommodate them.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I tried my best to accommodate. It literally took me 2 hours to set everything up.
Yeah.
And patch everything and get everything going. And then another, 3 hours to record the one song they wanted to record. So, and in the review, the guy said, "Oh, the guy just needed money. He was trying to get more money out of it." Oh, whatever, bro. I don't care. I actually gave him a full refund and told him, "Here's your money back. Never call me again. Never come here again."
Wow.
So in the review, that's what in the rebuttal in the review, that's what I said. I gave him his money back and told him not to call me ever again because this ain't for you. That person, this studio's, any studio's not for that guy.
No.
If he's just doing it that way, but whatever. That's a fun story to tell. So
yeah,
whatever,
I think
man.
yeah, I mean, I've
frustrating.
I've had nightmare situations like that. I think most studios who have been doing this for long enough, like, there's always going to be situations like that pop up that are just nightmares, and you have to deal with the best you can in the calmest way you can.
And I have actually had conversations about things that have come into each of our lives in studios about the same similar thing, about money and asshole clients and whatever. They're everywhere though, or let's call them Karen clients. Let's just go there.
Karen clients. That's a good one. I like that.
Okay.
So kind of wanted to segue into. I wanted to ask you a question about. This is the theme question for the podcast.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, if you want to maybe, if you're comfortable with this, if you want to maybe get into a little bit into the darkness here, what was one of the darkest parts of your life or your career and what did you do to overcome it, and how did it make you the person you are today?
You asked me this or when we came in to think about it. There's been not quite a few. My life's been. I probably compare, if everybody's comparing lives, I mean, my life's probably been awesome, and people look at my life and they see what I've accomplished and what I've built, and they just assume that it's easy. I mean, I've got, I have a weekly YouTube channel that I post content to. And my content this week, actually, I was doing the video before I came over here today, and my video this week is about building a studio. Basically, it's a studio building exercise. I give everybody $150,000 to build a studio. It's awesome because that $150,000 is going to go quick.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys,
Yeah.
and people just think it's easy to build a studio. It's easy to have a studio. Okay, cool. Look it up. Here, do this exercise and look at it. But okay, back to the dark times. There's been a few, but probably one of my more recent dark moments, which I haven't really talked about a lot, and maybe thank you for the therapy session today. This might be good to get out. But my mom got really sick, cancer, and it's difficult to talk about. But I went to visit when she got diagnosed. I went to visit. I thought it'd be better to see her as I remember.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing her sick.
Yeah.
So when
it's all good, man. It's all good.
It's difficult. This was after Katrina. I'm from Louisiana. So I say New Orleans because nobody knows where Jean Lafitte Baptiste is at. It's otherwise known as Lafitte, Louisiana. It's a small village 45 miles south of New Orleans in the Delta. And Katrina tore it up. I mean, just killed, not killed. It killed all the houses.
Yeah.
But it literally killed my dad and my mom. I say my dad, I never actually met, this was probably an early dark time. I never met my bio father. We didn't hang out. But my stepdad was my dad. He's the guy that got the Father's Day cards. And Katrina killed him. It took 5 years. It took 4 years for Katrina to kill my dad. But from an infection that turned into cancer, and cancer just tore him up, So that was difficult. That was difficult to go through as well. But then with Mom, she shortly after my dad passed, she was diagnosed with cancer. So I went to visit, and it was tough, man. It was a tough time because it's always tough. I mean, if it's Mom, always. So, but I was in a. It's not even funny, but I was in a recording session. Maybe that's how I get through it. Is I laugh, but whatever. I was in a session recording, and I got the call. I shouldn't have answered the phone because I knew what it was, but I did. And you kind of can't give that to your client, So that was a really difficult moment. In that I just. My brother called and I said, yeah, man. No, I said, look, I'm in a session right now. Let me call you back in a little bit. And I put the phone down. I was like, okay, let's try another take. Went back to it without it, you try not to give that stuff to your clients, And man, after the session, bro, it was, the client left and it was, the assistants were still there. The interns were there and it was tough. I mean, it was tough. And that, I don't know, man, that was, I didn't really think I'd do that, I'm supposed to be a strong, country boy and nothing phases.
Think you do what?
Just break down, man.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was always, I don't know, man. I was always raised that crying is for girls and pussies and whatever. You know what I mean? Dudes don't cry. Whatever, man. Stepdad was, Tom. Dad was tough on us boys, but it was a good thing. And later on in life, I found out that it was a good thing. Like when I left home, and this was tough. When I left home, they were pissed. They were angry.
Why was that?
I'm the oldest boy, the oldest son. My job was to take over the family business.
Okay.
As the oldest male child, and I said, no, I'm going to LA. I'm gonna be a rock star. Yeah, it didn't go over well with moms, and so it was tough, man. It was a minute before we even spoke, but eventually she saw me on. We'd go through on tour. I'd be on tour. We'd play New Orleans, played Tipitina's or something in New Orleans. I like jazz, so I toured a lot of jazz. I toured with Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock and Al Di Meola and Sergio Mendes, all these great jazz players, man. And just the people that played with them are just, amazing players. And it's awesome to be a part of that, So we go through and play the jazz clubs in New Orleans, and I'd invite my family up to give them tickets, and they'd come up and hang out, and it was fun, but that was like it's about 5 years before I actually saw my mom after I left home. So times were tough, man. That was a dark time as well, not having access to family.
Did they eventually accept your decision? And
it was literally 25 years later.
Wow.
That my mom. It was right after Katrina. They'd lost their home, and they were standing in what you now know as my Studio A. I was still building it. And they were standing in my Studio A. And my mom said, baby, I think you're going to be okay. Look at what you're building. It took literally 25 years for my mom to acknowledge that I was going to be okay.
Wow.
I never called and asked for money, never called and asked for help. I just, and I never went home because my dad said, as I was driving down the driveway, my dad said, you'll be back. You're going to fail. You're going to suck. You're going to call us for money. You're going to be back. I give you 3 months.
Oof.
But what that did, and I think later on, after he passed, this was after he died, I thought about it. I was like, man, that motherfucker knew what he was doing at the time. And, it's just, he knew that I'm the guy that if you tell me I can't do something, bruh, hold my beer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna go fast. I'm gonna go hard and get it done. If you tell me I can't build a studio, watch this. The redneck gonna come out. Hey y'all, if a redneck tells you that, Alex, hey y'all, watch this. Get your camera out. Something funny gonna happen.
Well, I know it probably felt disheartening and harsh in the moment, but do you feel that the way they reacted to your decision made you into the successful person you are? Like, do you think that helped shape who you are?
Oh,
now?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was instilled always in the family at home. We didn't come, I don't come from money. I come from hardworking people, and not a lot of things. If I don't come, I didn't have a silver spoon, and I wasn't entitled. I don't have that. Everything I have, I built with my hands, and I hopefully I've instilled that in my child. He's my child's now 30 years old, and he's a great kid, man. And hopefully I've instilled that in him. And that was another thing too. When my son was 25, we went out to dinner for his birthday, and he literally thanked us for being the parents that we were.
Yeah.
And that was golden. That was one of those things, man. And I got that from my parents. I got that from my mom, which I got from my grandma, and it just kept going. And I try to instill that in my daily life. I let people in on the freeway. I hold door open for ladies, Dude, we were at the mall a couple months ago. My wife and I went to the mall, go shop or something. And my wife was walking in front of me. Or I was walking in front of my wife. We were side by side. I held the door open for my wife, let her in. There was a lady right behind her. I held the door open for her. And she said, I don't need no man to hold the door open for me. Fuck you. I was like, bro, what? Really?
Woke people.
Seriously? And so all I said was, hey, I have to. My grandma is watching. And that maybe she understood that. I don't know. Maybe not, but whatever.
Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing all that, by the way.
I don't talk about that shit, bro. But I don't have friends. I don't have people to talk to because I'm a recluse. I stay in my dark, cold cave of a studio. This is the first time I've legit driven more than a mile in literally 3 years, bro.
No.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you over, man. Like, and I want to tell you something too. Like you've been an inspiration in my life as well. Like seeing you with your studio and keeping it going for so long and getting through the ups and downs. And every time I show up, you're professional and you're welcoming and you're kind. So
appreciate you saying that because that's what I try to do. And just another segue into another part, which I didn't get to yet. But I have another platform which I'm trying to build, and you've seen it. You've talked about it. You've been a part of it. Learn Pro Recording. If you guys want to go to learnprorecording.com and check it out. It's less about the music business. It's more about what I call and what I'm calling the business of making music. Because I teach, I talked about that a little bit earlier. I teach for this other school. A lot of my students ask me, "Hey, what do I do now? Now that I've learned how to use an EQ and a compressor and a microphone, what do I do? How do I make money doing this?" And I've built my studio. I know. I can tell you. I can share with you, and I'm sharing. I'm literally sharing. It's free. I mean, I'm not trying to make a shit ton of money on it. I'd like to pay for it. That'd be cool. But most of my stuff is free. So I think it's going to be an awesome platform because I love to share. Our job, and you're still a young guy, man. You're not even thinking about this yet. But as an older engineer, part of my life and part of my job is to pass my art and my abilities and my knowledge and my experience on to the next generation to keep this art alive. Let's not let AI destroy this art, bro.
Please no.
I mean, seriously, this is an art. Recording, mixing, mastering is an art form, and we need to keep it as an art form.
It's a human art form.
Absolutely.
It's a person's stamp. It's a timestamp in a human being's emotion and expression in time. And
Dude,
I don't feel that AI can ever replicate that. Yeah, maybe it can do some cool stuff, and maybe we'll use tools in the future. Like maybe there'll be an AI drum editing plugin that we can utilize. That would be great for like utility kind of things. But I personally don't feel like it will ever replicate a human being.
It can't be creative. Absolutely not. And I love what you said, man. I'm going to steal that. So there we go, stealing shit again from each other.
So yeah, man, before we wrap it up, yeah, is there anything else you wanna plug for the listeners?
I mean, y'all come check out the studio, man. If you're in town, dude, if you're local, come over. You ain't gonna feel the vibe with the pictures. It just doesn't work. But if you're local, come over. I mean, that's how Alex and I met. He came over. You got to feel the vibe. You got to come over and feel the love, man. Come check it out. It's a lot of fun. Just go to esaudio.com and check it out. I mean, if you're not local, go to the website, check it out. But check out if you guys want to get into learning about the studio and learning about how to run a studio for fun and profit, come hang out at learnprorecording.com, man. I mean, we're killing it. I'm sharing every week. I'm sharing tidbits of gold that are going to help you grow, build, and scale your studio into something that could possibly take over your day job, bro. Seriously. Quit your day job. Come hang out in the studio all day, man.
Yeah, I think there's so many people that want to make music for a living and only music. So I think what you're doing is great, and sharing your knowledge with others and sharing your experience and your wisdom that you've gained from 20 years in a studio.
40.
So 40.
40 years in the music industry, man.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I'm dating myself now, but that's fine. That's cool.
Right on, Donny. Well, I appreciate you coming by, and it's been great to learn a little bit more about you.
Man,
and even
thanks.
though, we've been working together for about 10 years now, but
Thank you, man.
I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, brother.